What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. This is going to be another personal episode of Joe Winko Talk. Nothing really morbid or gloomy, but it is going to be a bit negative. So, as you guys all know, year 2020 has not been a good year for me. Well, it really hasn't been a good year for anyone, really. But it definitely wasn't a good year for me at all. With all this coronavirus stuff going on, I really have not been leaving the house much this year. Not nearly as much as I did back in 2018 and 2019 and 2017. And it's really sad, and it's been starting to bring me down. As you guys should remember, if you've been watching me on YouTube long enough, there's actually a whole bunch of places that I've been wanting to road trip to lately. Let me show you a map of all of them right here. And I even did an episode of Joe Winko Talk about all the places that I've been wanting to road trip to. Luckily, I was able to visit Texas back in March of 2020, and that was an awesome adventure. But I went there right when the coronavirus pandemic was starting to surge in the USA, and I had to leave Texas early because of that, because my adoptive parents kept telling me that I would end up stranded there. And the Texas trip was a lot of fun. I was just sad because I didn't get to see everything in Texas that I wanted to see. But either way, year 2020 has not been a fun year. I've been worried about the coronavirus, and I've been spending so much time at home. And on top of that, I don't even feel safe at home because of my adoptive dad's brothers who I live with who aren't taking the coronavirus seriously. And I really wanted to get away, and I really wanted to get out and go somewhere else, honestly. Luckily, as I explained in a couple of my previous episodes of Joe Winko Talks, I was actually enrolled in the coronavirus vaccine trials for the Moderna vaccine, and I already got both of my shots in September and in October. And I got a blood test confirming that I had coronavirus antibodies in my blood. That means that I have immunity to coronavirus. However, whenever I go out, I'm still going to be careful and wear my mask and wear my face shield and my goggles. That's what I have been doing all year, really. But I worry about it less nowadays, but I still stay very vigilant about coronavirus, and I still try to keep myself safe. So as you guys also should know, whenever I go on a road trip somewhere, I always film a video of it and post it on YouTube. And the thing is, those videos, they attract a lot of attention, really. Like, when people see me post a video about how someone sent me a bus ticket somewhere and I went to go visit them, some people will sometimes watch that and say, "Oh, that's really cool. I should invite Joe Winko to come visit me." And then they'll send me bus tickets to visit them, and then we'll go on a road trip together somewhere. That's happened not as often as I hoped for it to, but it has happened pretty often, though. For example, there was one guy who lived up in Alabama back in 2018 who was going to have me visit him up in northern Alabama in 2018 because that's one of the places I've been wanting to road trip to because a tornado happened up there, and I wanted to do a video about where the tornado went. He said he was going to send me a bus ticket, but then eventually he flaked on me and I never heard back from him, and I was kind of upset about that. However, that happens so often. Like, those stories are literally a dime a dozen. A couple months ago, there was another man who said that he was watching my videos on YouTube who sent me an email. He lived in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I believe that's actually the capital of the state of Louisiana. He said that he liked my videos on YouTube, and he said that he liked how I would always film my adventure videos with my dash cam, and he liked seeing me in the passenger seat because he thinks I look funny in my red pointy bandana, and he also thought it looked really cool. And he said that he wanted to invite me out to Louisiana to visit him for a few days because he'd been watching some of my YouTube videos, and he felt sorry for me because I really wanted to get away from my adoptive dad's brothers. And he also felt sorry for me because he thought that it's been a while since I've been on a road trip, which it has been. And I thought that was really nice of him to think of inviting me to Louisiana. To be completely honest, there was really nothing in Louisiana that I really been wanting to see at all, but I was really just open to going anywhere and getting out of Florida. It's pretty ironic. I always say how much I love Florida, but I always try to get out of Florida and go visit somewhere else. It's my adventure autism mind, I guess you can say that. But I was excited to go to Louisiana. Now, there were some places close to Louisiana that I've been wanting to visit. I really been wanting to visit Mississippi and Alabama. However, the places that I've been wanting to go in Mississippi and Alabama, I was actually planning on getting out and filming videos at those places. But the thing is, it's really not a good idea to do that during coronavirus, because when you go to a town where you don't know anyone during a pandemic and people see strangers in their town with a pandemic going on, they become more territorial. And when you walk into a strange town where you don't know anyone, I'm assuming that they would not appreciate that during a pandemic. So that's the reason why I didn't want to visit Mississippi and Alabama while this coronavirus stuff was going on. However, what we were planning to do in Louisiana, he was just going to take me on a drive through the back roads of Louisiana, and I was just going to film all of it on my dash cam and post it on YouTube and show it to people and see if anyone finds it interesting, really. But also because I'd really enjoy the drive too, because I don't really know much about Louisiana, and I thought it would be fun to drive around Louisiana. He wanted to show me the backwoods of Louisiana and a couple creeks and rivers in Louisiana, and I thought that sounded like an awesome idea. So we were talking to each other for a while, and I thought he was really cool. We got along really well, and he was asking me, when do I want him to send me the bus ticket to Louisiana? And I didn't really know whether or not I wanted to go at first because I already got both of my shots for the coronavirus vaccine. This was around October, late October, and I hadn't gotten my antibody result yet because when you're in a vaccine trial, they give half of the participants the actual vaccine and the other half the placebo, and they don't tell you which one you gotten. However, I was on this Facebook group for people who were in the coronavirus vaccine trials, and they were all able to find out whether they got the vaccine or the placebo because they were getting antibody blood tests, which told them whether or not they had immunity to coronavirus. And the immunity to coronavirus, if you have a positive antibody result, they were all assuming that that was from the coronavirus vaccine because that's what the coronavirus vaccine causes your body to have. It causes your body to produce antibodies that fight off coronavirus so the spike protein in the virus cannot attach to your cells or replicate at all. That's how it works. So I was telling him that. I told him that I want to wait till I get my coronavirus antibody test that shows whether or not I have immunity to coronavirus. And I told him that if it shows that I have immunity to coronavirus, then I could come visit right away then. And it takes a couple of weeks for a positive antibody result to show up after getting the vaccine. So that's what I did in late October. I went into the labs and I had my blood drawn, and then it took like a couple days for them to process the results, and then I would get a notification on my phone which would tell me whether or not I had a positive antibody result. And eventually I did get a positive antibody result. It told me that I had immunity to coronavirus, and then I was really excited. I was like, awesome, I have immunity to coronavirus. I can finally get out of this house. I have a friend in Louisiana who wants me to visit, who wants to drive me through the back roads of Louisiana so I can film all of it on my dash cam and then upload it on YouTube when I get home. And I was really hyped and really excited. So I called him one night and I was really happy, and I told him, hey, my antibody results came back. They said that I have antibodies in my blood against coronavirus. That means I have immunity, so I can come visit. But then he pulled a 360 on me and he told me, I don't want you to come visit. And I was just like, why not? We were talking about it earlier. You said that you wanted to drive me through the back roads of Louisiana and you wanted to go on a road trip with me. And then he said, I was watching more of your videos and I saw that one video you did about Donald Trump. And then I was just like, oh no. And I saw exactly where this was going, because remember, this man was from Louisiana, and he wasn't like a Midwestern transplant or anything like that. When you listen to him talk, you can straight up tell that he's straight up from Louisiana by the way he talks. He had that southern accent. And he told me that the video made him very mad, the one that I was talking about how bad Donald Trump was, and I was telling everyone to vote for Joe Biden instead. And he actually had the nerve to tell me to take that video down. He told me to take the video down and keep all that stuff to myself. And I was just mind blown when he said that. I was like, what the hell? Did he seriously just tell me that? I have never in my life ever had anyone say to me to take one of my videos down because they didn't like it, and I never met anyone who had the nerve to straight up tell me to take one of my YouTube videos down and seriously think that I'm going to do it. And that's what it seemed like. It seemed like he seriously thought I was going to take my Don't Vote for Trump YouTube video down because he didn't like it. And I told him, no way I'm taking that down. People need to know the truth. Trump fucked up this country. He got thousands of people killed by coronavirus. And he's an idiot and he shouldn't be president at all. And then this man straight up told me, well then, I don't want you visiting me then. And then I told him, you know what, I don't care at all, really, because I'll find someone else to take me to your hurricane-ravaged state anyway. Because, as you all know, this year during hurricane season, Louisiana was getting hit left and right by hurricanes, really. And I told him, say hi to my South Carolina backstabbers for me. He didn't understand what I meant when I said that, but for those of you who've been following me on YouTube for a long time, you know exactly what happened to my South Carolina backstabbers. But if you don't, I'll have a link to those videos in the pinned comments. Then he hung up on me, and I never heard from him again. And it was kind of sad, really, because I felt like I lost a friend, honestly. Because we talked on the phone a few times before that, and we seemed to get along really well. He was this friendly country guy, and he even got me a present off my Amazon wish list too. Let me show it to you guys. This is the present that he got for me off my Amazon wish list. He literally got this for me like the first day we started talking, some colored duct tape. And if you guys want to know why I had colored duct tape, the reason why is because I was becoming overly paranoid about the coronavirus, and I was worried that my adoptive dad's brother, if he was walking through the hallway outside my door and breathing and exhaling air into the hallway outside my door, I was worried about it coming in through the crevices of my door. So what I was going to do with the colored duct tape was I was going to tape the crevices of my door with the colored duct tape, and I actually did do that quite a few times, really. But after I got the positive antibody result, I stopped worrying about that so much. I mean, obviously I did, because I was getting ready to get on a Greyhound bus and ride all the way to Louisiana to come visit this guy. So I wasn't really worried about the coronavirus then. However, I still keep my distance from my adoptive dad's brother anyway, since he's stupid enough to think that the coronavirus is fake. But in all honesty, I'm actually really glad that Trump has lost the election, because Trump wasn't bringing our country together. He was literally splitting us up, and this is a pure example of that right here. This guy didn't want to invite me out to Louisiana. Like, we started as friends talking to each other. We were on the phone with each other for a couple hours talking about random stuff. We were even talking about Ed, Edd and Eddy too, and I thought it was pretty interesting that he liked watching Ed, Edd and Eddy, because this guy was actually in his 50s, and I didn't think anyone that old actually watched Ed, Edd and Eddy, but he did. And he was nice enough to get me the duct tape too. And he thought it was cool that I was in the coronavirus vaccine trials. But then, just because of my political beliefs, he just got mad and then just cut all ties with me and canceled all plans with me. And it's really sad and it's really unfair. And I was just like, whatever, I'll find someone else who will take me to Louisiana. But there's nothing really specific that I wanted to see in Louisiana anyway. I just wanted to get away from the state of Florida. However, this kind of does have a happy ending anyway, because I ended up finding another stranger online who thought my videos on YouTube were really cool, and he took me on a long drive through the back roads of Florida, and I actually have footage of that. We went through Pasco County, Hernando County, Pinellas County, and even all the way to Ocala and Citrus County. I'll be posting that later on. I just need to edit that video because I have so much footage of it. But it was a fun adventure anyway, and I appreciated that at least, because I didn't get away from the state of Florida like I wanted to, but at least I got out of this bedroom and was able to go on a road trip again. Something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. You take what God gives you, really. So, yeah, there's that. But it's just sad how Donald Trump is like splitting up the country like that. And that stupid lawsuit that Texas honestly tried to do to sue the other states because they all voted for Biden, that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, and I already knew that it wasn't going to pass at all, but it just made me very angry that Texas honestly thought that it could nullify all the other states and not have their votes count towards the presidential election, trying to make it so Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan, as much as I hate Wisconsin, they actually made a smart move voting for Biden, trying to make sure that all their votes in the presidential election didn't count. I thought that was messed up and unfair, and it honestly made me lose quite a bit of respect for Texas, because I always loved Texas. However, I still want to go back to Texas and visit, because there's a couple places there that I didn't get to visit at all. But hopefully I get to do that one day. Hopefully. But yeah, that's basically it for this episode of Joe Winko Talk. I just really wanted to talk about that and let that all out there. Have you ever had a friend who you lost because you didn't agree on political beliefs at all? Like someone who got mad at you just because of your political beliefs? Because in all honesty, like, I don't really mind if someone supports, gosh, I'm going to regret saying this, but I'm going to try to tell them not to support Donald Trump. But if someone really does support Donald Trump and agrees with him and everything, I'm not going to be an asshole to them about it. I mean, I'll try to tell them the truth, and it's their choice whether they want to listen to it or not. But I'm not going to be an asshole and reject them for it. I mean, the guy who took me on the drive through the back roads of Florida, he supported Donald Trump, and he knew that I supported Biden, and he even saw my video of me talking about not to vote for Trump at all and to vote for Biden instead. And I even tried telling him not to vote for Donald Trump either, but he did anyway. And because the funny thing was, we took that drive like right before Election Day. That was a bit ironic now that I think of it. But either way, me and him are still friends, and we don't hate each other, and he thought that road trip that we took was a lot of fun. But for this guy in Louisiana, it didn't work out that way. And, it's probably for the best of it anyway. I mean, the back roads of Louisiana, I mean, that just sounds creepy. But yeah, has anyone watching this YouTube video, have you ever went through something like that before? Have you ever had a friend or who you thought was a friend who completely turned their back on you because of your political beliefs? I mean, I just think it's messed up. Can't we just agree to disagree? I mean, seriously? But it is what it is. Even though everyone should support Joe Biden instead. I mean, he's a much better president than Trump, but we have no choice but to now. And hopefully when Trump leaves office, all this crazy psycho division that he threw our country into, hopefully it all eases out and we start going back to being more civil, honestly. So that's it for this episode of Joe Winko Talk. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. So that's it. Peace out, people.